I grew up in a household with two chain-smoking parents, all the way until I was 18 years old and left the house. And then I proceeded to join the Air Force and spend a career on the flight line around jet engines. So to say my lungs aren't the healthiest would be an understatement. And I'm not about to make that any worse as I got deeper and deeper into woodworking. So in today's video, we're going to explore what a micron is, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because in the next video, we're going to dive deep into filters and see if I can make a filtration system for my shop that helps keep my lungs healthy without breaking the bank. I hope you'll stick with me. You're breathing right now. And if you've ever run a sander or a table saw or a CNC in your shop without adequate air filtration, you've been breathing in dust so small that it has no smell, it doesn't make you cough, and it won't even show up on your clothes. But it's in there. It's deep in your lung tissue, and it doesn't come out, ever. Stay with me till the end of this video, and I'll tell you about an awesome experiment that I'm setting up in my own shop to see if I can achieve healthy air filtration without spending thousands of dollars. So what is a micron? A micron is short for micrometer, or 1/1,000,000th of a meter. That's 5 zeros and a 1 to the right of the decimal point. That number doesn't mean much on its own, so let's make it real. Another way to state the size of a micron is to say that it's 1,000th of a millimeter. If you stacked 1,000 microns on top of each other, you'd have roughly the thickness of a credit card. So how small is a micron? Using the relative size of a coffee ground particle, a single human hair is between 10 and 70 microns wide. Pollen, the stuff that makes you sneeze in the summer, is about 10 to 30 microns. A white blood cell is around 7 to 20. A red blood cell is around 6 to 8. Now here's where it gets important for your shop. The particles coming off your sander, your table saw, or your CNC, the ones that matter the most for your health, are the ones that range from 0.3 to 2.5 microns. That's smaller than a red blood cell. You never see them, you never feel them, and you never feel them going into your lungs. And below 1 micron, your lungs have no mechanism to push them back out. So what does that mean for your lungs? Here's a 3-tier breakdown. Tier 1 particles above 10 microns. This is the visible stuff. Gets trapped in your nose and your throat. Your body can handle those. Tier 2 particles between 2.5 and 10 microns get into your airways. This is uncomfortable, but your lungs do have some ability to clear this out over time. And Tier 3, that's below 2.5 microns. Now you're in territory where the particles reach the alveoli, the tiny air sacs deep in your lung where oxygen actually enters into your bloodstream. Below 1 micron, you reach the non-ciliated zone. That means there's no hairs, no mechanisms to sweep things out. Research on woodworking specifically shows that particles under 5 micron infiltrate the lower non-ciliated respiratory system where their half-life exceeds 1 month. That means they don't leave, they accumulate, like sediment, building up. The most dangerous size of all is 0.3 microns, not because it's the smallest, but because it sits at the intersection of hardest to filter and hardest for your body to expel. It's the benchmark particle size that HEPA filtration is specifically rated to capture. It's also the size that most shop air filters don't touch. So how do I know what filters to choose? So now that you know what a micron is, here's the connection that you'll need to evaluate any air filter for your shop, and that's called the MERV rating. MERV stands for Minimum Efficiency Reporting Value. It's a standardized scale developed by the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers. And it measures how efficiently filters capture particles between 0.3 microns and 10 microns. The scale runs from 0 to 16 for MERV standard filters, with higher numbers meaning that they capture smaller particles. Here's what each tier actually means in plain language. MERV 1 through 4. These are basic filters. They catch visible debris like pollen and dust and mites, but under 20% efficiency. Honestly, a piece of cheesecloth would do about the same thing. MERV 5 through MERV 8, this is where most hardware store furnace filters live. Better, but still limited. These are designed to protect your HVAC equipment, not your lungs. MERV 9 through 12. Now we're starting to catch particles in the 1 to 3 micron range. Pet dander, fine dust, some combustible particles, still not where you need to be in your wood shop. MERV 13 through 16. This is the range that starts capturing 0.3 to 1 micron particles. Those do the real damage. Bacteria, tobacco smoke, fine wood dust. This is where serious filtration begins. And above 16, that's HEPA territory. 99.97% efficient at catching 0.3 microns. That's hospital standards. One important nuance to keep in mind. MERV ratings are tested by mass, not particle count. Because mass increases with the cube of the particle size, a filter's real-world efficiency on the smallest particles it's rated to catch is lower than the overall number would suggest. That's why in the second video that I'm making, I'm not going to take the manufacturer's word for it. I'm going to measure it myself with an air quality meter. So now you know what filters you need. The next question is, how do you put them to work? So here's how to use what you just learned. When you're evaluating air filtration for your shop, whether it's a unit that you already own, like my case, or you're considering buying, start with 2 questions. First, assuming it's a dual filter unit, what's the MERV rating of the inner filter, like these pocket filters? That's the one doing the fine particle work. Second, is there a gasketed edge around the outer filter? Without a proper seal, air bypasses the filter media entirely and goes right back into the air. A MERV 15 filter with air bypass is worse than a well-sealed MERV 11 filter. Don't let manufacturers skip over the detail. The stock inner filter on most hanging shop air filters, including the Jet AFS 1000B that I have, is MERV 11. That means it's capturing particles down to about 1 micron with reasonable efficiency, but below 1 micron, which is exactly the range where dust does its worst damage, you're largely unprotected, and so am I. That's the problem that video 2 is going to solve. A quick note about safety. I want to leave you with one data point. The most dangerous particle size for woodworkers is 0.3 to 0.9 microns. That range is too small to trigger your body's natural defenses and too large for your lungs to easily breathe it back out. It lodges in there, it accumulates, and after years in a shop without adequate filtration, it contributes to conditions like occupational asthma, chronic bronchitis, and COPD. That's a disease that kills roughly 7 people every minute worldwide. The good news is it's entirely preventable, and it doesn't require a $3,000 to $5,000 commercial unit. But it does require understanding what you're up against, and now you do. So what's the takeaway? 2 things I really want you to walk away with from this video. Number 1, a micron is incredibly small. 70 of them fit across a single human hair. The particles doing the most damage in your shop are invisible. They're unfelt, and they're smaller than a red blood cell. And number 2, MERV is the tool that you can use to evaluate any filter. Anything below MERV 13 is not addressing the particle sizes that matter most for woodworker lung health. Now here's the question I've been asking myself. I have a Jet AFS 1000B hanging in my shop, and it has the standard filters that come with the unit. What if I upgraded it with a MERV 15 inner filter and a MERV 13 outer filter? But MERV ratings are just lab numbers, right? What's actually happening in my shop air? In the next video, I'm going to answer that question with real data and real use case using a Dylos DC1100 Pro air quality monitor. I'll be testing before and after particle counts across all 3 fan speeds, and I'll include sound measurements as well. I'll see you there. Till next time, friends, peace, love, and sawdust. Now go make something.